I want to make a general comment about the guidelines. Typically, and in the video that you'll be seeing, we tend to go vertically, talking about perception, then language and symbols, and then comprehension. And it has a feeling of inching your way through the guidelines, through the checkpoints. But I want to talk a little bit more globally, which is to say that actually the goal of UDL is along this horizontal, the bottom of the table here, options for comprehension, for executive functions, and self-regulation. That this is where we want to end up. This is where we want kids to be. That is, that they comprehend whatever's in front of them. They have good strategies. They know what to do. Similarly, they have great executive function. They make good plans, set goals for themselves that are appropriate, and monitor their progress. And lastly, similarly in engagement, the affective domain, that they are, in fact, able to self-regulate. It's not that they have to be stimulated by the outside world, that they're in charge of how things interest them and what they engage in and what they're willing to put effort in. So this is the place we want to get to. And the other guidelines are, in fact, really part of getting there. We do need to make sure that everybody can perceive the world from which they're going to learn. And whatever is put in language and symbols, we need that to be interpretable by the individuals. But it's really to get to comprehension that we want to do that. And similarly, we certainly want every child to be able to act on the world and to be able to be skillful in things like communication, to be able to write and speak and so on and so forth. But the top of this is really to get to executive functions where they can plan a good essay or a good speech, make it, deliver it, monitor their progress, and so on. So it's to get to executive functions that these others are critical. And lastly, on multiple means of engagement, at the beginning, it's how do we recruit interest? But that's too external. We move a little higher when we say, how do the kids learn to sustain engagement and persist in spite of difficulties? But the top of that hierarchy is really, how do kids set good goals, personal goals about development for themselves? How do they cope? And how do they reflect on their own development and their own engagement? So when you think about the guidelines, certainly there are our three main principles, and there's a verticality that goes literally from the outside in. So these are things that have to do with perception on the outside. These things have to do with physical action on the outside. Things to do with how we engage from the outside. But as you move down to this final row, it's all about the kids themselves. It's internal. The kid is what's driving. So what we want to do is get to that. Students who are independent, self-directed, self-actualizing learners. So in an odd way, the guidelines go outside in. Each of them do that. And here's where we want to end up. Thanks.